Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to center a ball of clay on the potter's wheel. First thing to do is get your bat on the wheel, and I like to clean it and dampen it slightly. That helps keep the clay stuck to the wheel and you don't get any crumbs or contaminants in your ball of clay. Your seating position is very important. I like to have my rear end an inch or two above the wheel head. That way I can use my body mass, my shoulders, my weight, more than my muscles, to put pressure on the clay. My knees are up so I can brace my elbows so I have something to be steady. Then you're going to take your ball of clay, and it should be prepared and wedged and have all the air taken out of it. That's very important for the wheel. It gets everything in motion and starts it spinning and saves you a little trouble. Then you're going to take the ball of clay and you're going to smack it down as close as you can to the very center of the wheel head. And then slowly you're going to spin the wheel. I like to give it a few smacks just to make sure it's stuck. And now it is. It isn't going to come off the wheel. Then I'm going to get the wheel spinning at a pretty good rate. I center a little differently than a lot of people. I use one hand to center with and one hand as a form. I call that hand the hand that does not move. And it kind of echoes inside of my head when I say it. The hand that does not move. Then you're going to get the wheel spinning and put a little bit of water on it. Wheel speed's important. You want to go almost as fast as the wheel can go, but not so fast you're out of control. Then I slightly dampen the clay. You don't need to soak it, just enough to make it slippery. Then with my left hand, I'm going to push the clay into my right hand, which is known as the clay that does not move. You righties can do everything opposite. And I'm gonna be pushing through the clay. You're actually centering the whole ball of clay, not just the outside. And you're going to be pushing it up against the hand that doesn't move. And the clay will pop up, and then you're going to bring your pushing hand on the top and push the clay down into the hand that doesn't move. Even though it is moving around a little bit, it's actually standing very firm and braced. And you can see where the clay is touching my hands right here. This is where I'm making contact with the clay. So this hand I want to keep just beyond where the clay is touching so it doesn't bounce around a lot, and you push straight through the clay and it pops up, and then you bring it back down again. I try and keep the extra little slime that develops at the bottom cleaned up every now and then so your hand doesn't pop around. So you want to bring the clay up and down. And that serves two things. One, it's a lot easier to center a smaller ball of clay. So if you bring the clay up, you have a little tiny ball of clay at the top, and then you can get that centered and come right back down. Also, if you have any air bubbles in the clay, which I suspect there might be some in this one, you can feel them sometimes. And the air bubbles in the clay are just like squeezing a balloon. If you squeeze them here, they're going to pop out there, and you're not going to be able to get the clay centered. And bringing the clay up and down in this manner actually turns the clay inside out, and if you have a bubble, it'll bring it to the surface and you can pop it. So there you go. That's a good centered ball of clay right there.